We are going to be going back over to Richard and the crew at the desk. We all love their lovely faces.
Thanks, Sid. That was kind of nice, man. We were trying to figure out. So basically what happened is the client crashed when I threw it back up. So the first game has already happened. We're going to be jumping into the second game of the series.
So we against Wealthy Man, but we are jumping into game number 2. Baby Rage looks like they are going to be going with their Holy Priest, Enhancement Shaman, Arms Warrior, Method Awaken, looking to play the same comp. They're going to play Subtlety, Arms Warrior, and Resto Shaman. So interesting picks.
Yeah, Turbo Cleave known for kind of getting gimmick one-shot kills out of nowhere. So not surprising. It's maybe early in the morning here on the West Coast. Maybe Roasties was taking a power nap, but against Turbo, you can't do that without inevitably going down. So I'm sure in game 2, they're going to sharpen up their plays, extend the match to the point where I see probably Roasties and Smexen running down the Holy Priest. They could even focus the Enhancement Shaman as well. It's going to be interesting to see this composition play out. Rogue Warrior is not something that we see very commonly, as our analyst was pointing out, so this is definitely a unique matchup if you're just tuning in. Yeah, Roasties looking for a sap. He gets a sap over onto the Holy Priest of Baby Rage. It looks like they're going to be opening up onto Hots JK Purge. Already down to 50%. He should be okay. Line of sighting in typical Hots JK Purge fashion. Gets a cheap shot up, though. He's not going to be running too much with that. Ray of Hope will come in, and now it looks like Baby Rage wants to get aggressive. Another Stormbolt over onto Roasties, doing a little bit of damage over on him, but he should be okay with that. Getting mind controlled away at low health, so Absurge might find that difficult to recover from. Shadow Step into a stun, chasing down Hots. He is playing Ethereal form, so it's going to replace his Astral Shift. It's a 45-second cooldown. It makes him immune to physical damage, but he can attack back. That's why you see him just running around in Ghost Wolf, but he also takes no physical damage, so a great talent choice against two mostly physical damage-based classes, unless the Salty Rogue has Shadow Blades. Looks like they're setting up for a stun on Roasties, but triple Hex Totem out from Absurge denies a bit of the burst on the front end. But it does seem like the Holy Priest, if they can stay alive, it's going to have the mana advantage. They set up the Smoke Bomb, looking for the burst kill over onto Hots. They already got the Ethereal form. It looks like Envious on Holy Priest faded some crowd control, connects a Ray of Hope. Now free casting in the backline should be able to top off Hots very easily as he goes back to full. Mind control spam now coming out. And that's going to be something very irritating for Smexen and Roasties to deal with, are those mind controls, unless they can train down the Priest. Seems like they don't want to risk it, though. Yeah, Roasties ran in for a kidney shot, and Envious faded that, so that was a really nice play coming in from him. Stormbolt over onto Roasties again. Baby Rage trying to get aggressive, but the disarm coming in from Smex, and that is really going to be slowing down that bloodlust from Hots. So well done by him noticing that. And if Smexen can keep up the duels and disarms, he can definitely keep Roasties alive with all that Arms Warrior peels. Hots still a little bit low right now. Envious having a hard time topping him off. Stun over onto Smexen. Looks like they're swapping to him. Dive of the Sword is forced. So Smexen having to use that defensive cooldown. And if you look, Absurge mana is actually not doing well at all. He's already down 25% mana, and Damping's not even close. He must be purging a lot, but looks like Envious is still handling this quite easily. He pre-Ray of Hope the kidney shot, so all damage is pausing. Even with just the Palm and Renew, is able to heal him back up after that kidney shot. So Envious avoiding a lot of crowd control, predicting the plays of Roasties throughout this second game. Now Ethereal form available. Of course, he can't use that while he's stunned if they can burst him down. Counter-Strike Totem is down. They're going to evacuate with a Life Grip. And Hots once again just kiting in that Ghost Wolf. Ghost Wolf, and very important for him to kite as it limits the snares on himself, allows him to run basically at 100% movement speed. They set up the Stormbolt with a Wind Shear, classic setup from the Turbo Cleave. Roasty trinkets out, but with no evasion available, he's in a lot of trouble. Triple Fear, you cannot stack up for those deadly Triple Fears out from Smexen. That got trinkets from the whole team, and this is looking more and more grim for Method Awaken. Yeah, but Hots is super low. Ethereal form's going to come in at the last second, saving him at 5% HP, but that short cooldown immunity is going to pay off so well against Method Awaken. I feel like the target choice of Method Awaken is really strange in this game so far. Guardian Spirit going to be used onto Hots. Good job by Envious. That's just going to increase all of his healing, allowing him to easily top off Hots. Another swap over onto Roasties, down to 50% HP. He has pretty much every single defensive cooldown, though, so I expect him to be fine. Carlos getting locked out once again. That is Absurge. He's basically tapped on mana this one, spamming out healing waves, trying to top off his team, but everyone is low. Baby Rage just way ahead in this game so far. I'm really surprised Method Awaken just isn't trying to cleave down Envious. That is the weakness of Holy Priest. I don't know what they're doing. Yeah, he just used his Guardian and Ray of Hope and Fade in a previous attack. Now, Roasties gone to a stun. Bloodlust gets popped. Absurge Hex Totems them away, but landing a nice mind control at low HP, trying to line of sight Carlos with it as well. Will Hots be able to connect the damage here? Another mind control at low health. Absurge having a hard time topping him off. No mana available. May need to trade out Spirit Link, uses evasion instead. Shadow Step kick landed onto the Holy Priest. They kidney shot, but he pre-Ray of Hope the swap to Vices. So Envious playing very well on this Holy Priest. Will that even be enough though? Die by the sword has to be traded out as well. Vices falling more and more behind, but they Stormbolt up Roasties, looking to switch that pressure around. They might just outright kill him. Absterge has no mana. Triple Fear landed and Roasties will fall. Baby Rage playing very well there, especially Envious on Holy Priest to avoid so much crowd control. I can't help but feel that Method Awakened are playing this too passively.
They're playing way too passively. I feel like what Method Awakened really needs to do is they need to just be attacking Envious from start to finish. I mean, it's going to be a little bit more risky, but it seems like they have the defensive capabilities to survive. But that Holy Priest just sitting at max range, spamming out his flash heal as well as all his other heals. It just seems like it's so easy for him to top off his team, and dispelling it over and over, not able to shut it down. And that amount of mana coming out of Dispel really forces them very quickly.
I think they're going to have a similar issue with Subtlety and Enhancement if they tried to kill HOTS. They're going to have a hard time connecting. Envious will have free reign in the backline, healing and mind controlling. So I'm not sure if Method Awakened's comp change is going to really affect the game unless they change their strategy.
I really feel like Method Awakened is overthinking this way too much. I would have liked them to stick to that original comp and just train down the Priest in true Cleave fashion, but they're going to be switching it up, opening up onto HOTS right away. Full sap over onto Envious. Resap coming in from Rosie, so really just controlling up that Priest, using his blind as well, and that's going to be an instant trinket from Envious.
But look, Smexen can't even connect. Vices peeled them away. Now they're going to Stormbolt Roasties, look for burst. Absterge diffuses it with a nice Voodoo Totem, hexing up the whole team, denying a lot of that burst. Roasties with Shadow Blades active, would like to get some pressure out, but unable to really connect. Envious kiting towards the tombs. They lead the charge towards Smexen. He's already down half with a Wind Shear onto Absterge. Now able to free cast, mind controlling Roasties away, trying to deny setup. They go for the Smoke Bomb. HOTS, Ethereals. The mind control stalled the stun for an extra second and allow HOTS to Ethereal the Smoke Bomb. They're in desperate moves here to go over towards Envious. Ultimately, I think this should be their main focus kill target. Envious doing a good job to deflect. Roasty now overextending. Absterge tries to stay aggressive with him. He needs to keep him going. Absterge will be on a clock with his mana significantly draining faster than Envious's.
I feel like Envious is going to have such an easy time healing through this cleave damage without the Mortal Strike effect of that Warrior, and that's really what Method Awakened is lacking now. But HOTS getting a little bit low. Envious not in any crowd control though. Should be able to top him off. HOTS just line of sighting, trying to avoid maybe some incoming purges and some incoming damage from Method. Rosie's getting swapped to full Stormbolt over onto him. He has a trinket. He has a trinket and evasion. A little bit of a close call there. Absterge probably calling out for that, and that will be enough to keep Rosie's alive. But that's one huge set of cooldowns that Baby Rage just forced, and that's a huge window of opportunity for them to take down Rosie's later in this game.
Yeah, definitely. And they're switching their target to Smexen as well, trying to force Absterge to spend as much mana as possible, switching Earth Shield to 2 different targets. Envious also spam mind controls to bait Absterge to purge it as well. So good strategy from Baby Rage to drain the mana bar even quicker. They make a swap to Envious. This is the target they need to ultimately be on, but he has all of his cooldowns available. He can fade. That's going to immune the pressure. Now he can start flash healing himself, trying to get through the 2 Wind Shears, which is going to be slightly annoying, but even if he gets Wind Sheared, it's going to be one of the lowest duration interrupts in the game, so he's going to easily top himself off. HOTS has Ethereal form, and Method Awakened are basically facing a wall. This composition swap doesn't have the advantage of the Mortal Strike to reduce the healing on Ray of Hope, so this Ray of Hope right here will almost surely be a full heal. One thing that's going good is that Envious has somehow spent a lot of mana. I'm not sure if he's purging or playing aggressive. It's a bit unusual for him to be this low on mana this early on.
Yeah, Rosie's getting stunned though, the double stun. Chastide's going to be going in as well. Spirit Link Totem has to be dropped by Absterge, and he wasn't able to run into it, unfortunately, not getting full value out of that cooldown, but that should be enough to keep Roasties alive. Disarm going out onto Roasties as well. Now Baby Rage wants to get aggressive. Like you said, Envious not doing the best on mana, but he's still way ahead of Absterge. Full kidney shot over on Envious, still has Guardian Spirit. He has that fade, so as soon as he gets out of these stuns, probably going to be using that fade. Not even going to have to use it, just going to be walking away, healing himself up very easily.
I really like that.
Swaps onto Envious don't seem to do too much.
Vices feared away the swap of the kidney shot, and then HOTS uses the Earth Grab Totem to root the melee far away after the fear. So it's good coordination to allow Envious to easily sit through that swap. Absterge is running out of time. His clock slowly ticking down with that mana bar running out. Double Wind Shear landed onto Envious into a kidney shot. Nice crowd control chain, but really no damage. Smexen is the one that's in trouble. Down below half, may need to trade out Ethereal form. Absterge says, I got you, spamming out the heals in the back line. We can see the Counter-Strike Totem strategy from Method Awakened. They're basically trying to win off of a gimmick almost, and I don't think you're going to gimmick down Baby Rage, and at this point you're down 2 points, you're on match point. This is not a good situation to be in. Roasty's caught into that Stormbolt, deciding to not trick it, triggers some mind control instead. Absterge connects some clutch heals to restabilize, but then they switch to Smex and they force the Ethereal farm, and pressure is still completely in favor of Baby Rage.
I don't know why all these rogues are waiting to trinket so long. Absurd is having to expend so much mana. Envious getting swapped to, though. Could be in a little bit of trouble right now. Getting hexed up. Fades it, though, so he's going to be immune to damage for a little bit with that. Might have to use his Guardian Spirit, but he still has Ray of Hope, and he's able to just walk away quite easily. Vice and Hot's doing such a good job. Yeah, Envious still sheared low. He could get swapped to, still in a little bit of trouble. Hot's getting low, so Envious falling a little bit behind. This is looking good for Method Awaken. Envious has an opportunity to cast, so he gets sheared once again. Good job by Absurd staying aggressive. He's completely at this point of the game, though. Needs to somehow keep Specs in alive. Vices and Hots just need to make sure they're attacking. Interrupt onto Absurd, stun onto Roasties. Nice crowd control coming in from Baby Rage. Specs is still in a lot of trouble. Envious manages to top off his team, has every single defensive cooldown. Baby Rage is looking very good in this game so far.
They would have to throw at this point. They're really pushing the nail. Take out Smex in Ethereal form. May not even be enough. They're spam purging him down. Somehow Hots is going through the Ethereal form, almost killing him. Now forcing evasion. Baby Rage all over the place. Roasties and Smexen, they probably have one opportunity. Envious doesn't have a trinket. They can maybe kill him 100. They smoke bomb Hots, but he gets the Ethereal form off. Now double fear landed out by Vices. They could just Stormbolt and kill Roasties, I believe, out of that. They might just kill him with raw pressure. He's forced to run away. Absterge has no mana left to keep this fight going. Smexen's still trying to counter pressure, but now he's a target. Roasties is kited away. Voodoo Totem to buy him a second, but I don't think that second will be enough, and Smexen is going to ultimately fall. Baby Rage absolutely decimate Method Awaken 3-0 in a very surprising fashion. As you were saying, Elliot, I think they overthink this matchup way too much.
Yeah, I really feel like if they had that Arms Warrior, they could sharpen blade those Ray of Hopes. It's a huge, I want to say, sort of counter to Holy Priest. And
Grand Arena recently remastered for the arena itself. HD Nagrand Arena. Method Reborn against Tempo Storm. Come on, let's hear your support in chat. Both of these teams, their tournament lives are on the line.
I can hear the Pog Champs from here in the Red Bull studio. Tempo Storm is going to be busting out the Assassination Rogue Moonkin Resto Shaman. And like we said, we basically predicted this one. Sometimes we do get it right. We'll have to see how this goes down. Peekaboo going to be looking to pressure down Sea-Doo a lot. We're going to have to see how Sea-Doo handles that pressure early on in this game.
Yep, definitely, and I think that they did get a bit of a comp advantage here unless Peekaboo can make some sick moves. They already Stormbolt Gorecki. It looks like they're going to be running straight for that healer. Gorecki trying to jump to safety, trades out Astral Shift. Now Jamili and Peekaboo trying to reverse with some crowd control, but Sea-Doo was able to fade the Cyclone, get out of that Solar Beam, and avoid the crowd control. Now they're switching their attention to Jamili, really trying to shut him down during his incarnation, but they're not able to. Bean retreats back to the pillar. They've left Snuts in the open, though. They need to be aware of that. Bean charges back. Jamili's pressure seems to be good. Full blind. Sea-Doo trinkets out. Fair trade for Sea-Doo. Now Sea-Doo crossing the map, a very long distance to make as they swap to Gorecki, pop the Metamorphosis, looking for that Wombo combo, one shot, stun, silence, gone. Tempo Storm taken down in a quick fashion on the Grand Arena. Method Reborn strike again with that counter pick almost. That was a really good swap. I was not expecting that, and neither was Gorecki, as Method Reborn lead the series 1-0.
Yeah, good night, Gorecki. I don't think he's going to be playing.
GG, good night, Gorecki.
Yeah, good night, Gorecki. I don't think he's going to be playing Relentless anytime soon against Method Reborn, that Demon Hunter Warrior.
But as a shaman, you know that Demon Hunters want to kill you. That's been like for the entire expansion. Demon Hunters just love attacking Resto Shamans. So
doesn't
Gorecki,
everybody love attacking Resto
I think everyone
Shaman?
does. But specifically in a tournament, you need to be ready for it. So I would imagine Gorecki's going to polish up and be ready for those swaps. He already has Earthshield on himself, which means that Method may attack Jamili instead. They opt to fear him and then not really get anything with it. So Snuts' fear has gone basically wasted. Triple cheap shots out from Peekaboo. So everyone is off of stun DR. Bean and Snuts could really pull the trigger soon. Launch an assault. They pop that Metamorphosis to Jamili. Jamili displaces away back to Gorecki, but they may even swap to Gorecki. Bean trying to chase him down. Chastise connects. It's 2-on-1, but a nice Cyclone pauses out for the stun. Gorecki now looking for a Hex. Not able to find that. Sea-Doo fades and immunes the Hex. Well played from Sea-Doo. Jamili now down to half. Snuts really tearing into him. Looks like Snuts is going to go after Jamili. Bean's just waiting to get out of crowd control. We're going to have to wait to see who Bean actually ends up going after. Snuts has retreated, or pulled into Gorecki, actually. Jamili's still taking quite a bit of damage just by Bean. Gorecki having a hard time picking him up, and Snuts is just waiting to Stormbolt with no Earthshield, I think.
I like the split strategy. Bean just doing a lot of cleave damage to Jamili as well as Peekaboo. And then Bean gets the, Bean, yeah, getting the cleave damage to Jamili and Peekaboo. And that, meanwhile, Snuts attacking Gorecki. That's a split strategy. We talked about the triple Chaos Nova. Jamili could be in a little bit of trouble here. Imprisonment on a Gorecki. Jamili having to camp that bear form with Bark Skin right now. It's a lot of damage reduction, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Full mind control over onto Gorecki. Jamili getting dangerously low, having to displace away. Gorecki needs to connect something onto him right now. Finally getting some heals, rooting up Snuts. Bean now able to reconnect as well, but Method Reborn looking great in this game so far. That is a root beam over onto C2. Gets interrupted there. Bean could be in a little bit of trouble. Blur is proc, so the big defensive cooldown forced from Bean. Luckily, it's not that long of a cooldown, but that is an opportunity for tempo.
Yeah, Bean now getting cloned at low health. C2 tries to mass dispel the Cyclone. Jamili moves in, stuns Bean. Looking to maybe Cyclone him again, doesn't find it. C2 line of sight. Jamili still down at half. Gorecki seems to be struggling to deal with Bean's pressure. I'm wondering if Snuts is just training him down. We don't see Snuts on screen, so I would imagine Snuts is pressuring Gorecki. Now with the Stormbolt landed and mind control on the Peekaboo, he's not going to be able to assist. Jamili needs to. He's going to Cyclone C2 to open Peekaboo up so he can stun Snuts. Good teamwork there by Tempo Storm, but Bean is still just training down Gorecki, almost soloing him, landing that interrupt. Snuts is trying to reconnect for the execute. Triple Fear landed out. Peekaboo is going to get out of that soon. His Vendetta's ticking, but Ray of Hope denies it. Nice Hex snuck in there by Gorecki. That's going to put C2 behind. They need to get enough pressure on Bean to find the kill. They go for Full Moon. Bean Darknesses. C2 now out of the Hex. Should be able to easily recover through the pressure. Yeah, I really like when Snuts is attacking Gorecki. Creates a lot of pressure, but the beam over onto C2. Bean in a lot of trouble in the kidney shot. Has to trinket out of that. He's going to be okay. It looks like he still has Blur Up as well. He's going to be using that Nether Walk. That should keep him alive. But C2 gets interrupted. Bean's still a little bit low. If Tempo Storm can follow up with any CC, luckily C2 fades it. Looks like Demon Form's going to be used. They want to counter pressure Jamili right now. No Earthen Shield Totem is going to be available. Jamili has to displace away. Gorecki trying to connect heals. Pops that Ascendant, so he should be able to empower his heals enough to top off his team. Yeah, double Chaos Nova landed. Still keeping decent pressure on Jamili. I like that Jamili's actually playing Displacer Beast. I think it's super effective for avoiding a melee cleave like this as opposed to the bear form spec. And he can avoid the critical burst moments like he did just there. But unfortunately, Snuts is playing into that talent decision. Snuts is actually just training down Gorecki, who has less mobility. And that means that Bean can easily connect to a Boomkin by himself. So it's putting Gorecki in an awkward situation where he has to heal 2 targets. They still have decent mana. I was not expecting C2 to be behind this much. So if they can keep up their momentum, they may have a chance. But they swap the Peekaboo, catch him into that Chastise. Gorecki switches Earth Shield right before the Storm Bolts. Really well done. That Earth Shield buys Peekaboo enough time for Gorecki to sit through the stun. Now trying to reverse with some cheap shots of his own. Jamili looking to set up his Moon spells. Half Moon into Full Moon. Potentially Ray of Hope denies the Full Moon. I think it was a good read by C2. Basically the same cooldown. C2 now caught into a kidney shot. The Vendetta does get imprisoned, denies the damage. Bean swaps to Jamili. And it does seem like Bean is going to be 1v1ing Jaw and Snuts is going to be 1v1ing Gorecki. And whoever gets the brunt of that 1v1 is ultimately going to lose. Yeah, I really like this strategy coming in from Method. Full Fear on a Gorecki. Now it actually breaks. I'm not sure what broke that. Maybe a Rend Tick or something. But Jamili's now going to get swapped to, but Gorecki is able to freely heal him up. He's still taking so much pressure. Mind control over on a Peekaboo. C2's basically has free reign at this point. I'd really like to see Peekaboo try to create some pressure over onto C2 so Jamili and Gorecki can pull back and get some pressure onto Bean, and maybe that might work out a little bit better for them. It really just feels like they're losing this battle. Peekaboo trying to get some pressure onto Snuts and Bean, but not getting the better end of the exchange. He's going to get imprisoned up low right now. Gorecki way behind him. Nice Snuts getting swapped to, though. Has to pop that. Die by the sword. Still really low on HP. C2 having to get that heal up, but that should be enough. He cyclones the Ray. C2 puts so much healing into that Ray, and now Snuts is in a lot of trouble. C2 doesn't have much left. He has the Guardian Spirit. He might have to use it, but the Holy Word Serenity will be enough to top off Snuts, and he's going to be okay for now. Yeah, but they need to be careful. Blind C2 Trinkets has Guardian as the last line of defense for Snuts, but if they can punish Snuts for being so aggressive like that constantly, it could be an opening, but double stun up from Bean. Metamorphosis is activated. Gorecki and his whole team are in trouble. They silence him, looking to wombo combo him down to the graveyard. Jamili goes for a clone, gets off pummeled by Snuts, but now Gorecki can spam out healing surges. Fury of the Illidari tearing in. Bean keeping the momentum, gets cycloned away. Does not want to trinket aggressively, so I think it's a smart move for him to play defensively. They're already winning on mana. They already have the pressure. It's important for Bean to save that trinket. For a stun like this, he can trinket out and avoid the Vendetta pressure, so it was a smart play from Bean, not playing too aggressive, and they're going to keep their advantage. Yeah, Bean doing a good job in this game so far. Imprisonment over onto Peekaboo. It looks like he's trying to get some pressure over onto C2 finally, but Gorecki almost completely tapped on mana. C2's trying to go for those mind controls, really harassing Peekaboo. Maybe that's why Peekaboo doesn't want to be attacking him. It's getting mind controlled and Chastise stunned over and over. Now caught into a fear. Gorecki's into a fear. Peekaboo's getting swapped to right now. Jamili also getting low. This is big trouble for Tempo Storm. Gorecki really doesn't have too much left. Barskin is forced as well.
Full kidney shot over onto Bean. He's taking a little bit of pressure. Seedu's man is still looking so good. He's going to be popping that fade, allowing him to easily top off his team. 6% dampening has kicked in. And Gorecki, actually, I don't know if he drank there or he's got some nice mana regen.
What I would like to see is Jamili attack Snuts. I mean, Snuts is just getting trolled right now by Gorecki. Gorecki's just running around that pillar and Snuts can't keep up. He's doing a great job, actually. If he can do this for basically another 2 minutes, his team will eventually even out on mana. I think he's still kiting and Ghost Wolf. Snuts is angrily chasing them down, storm bolting him now, popping the Battle Cry. But in the meantime, Jamili and Peekaboo have developed pressure on Bean, holding him at half. Seedu trying to pick him back up. I think that Jamili could maybe attack Snuts instead and pressure him off of Gorecki. That would cause Seedu to have to just spam heal 2 targets. Looks like Snuts is going to leap over and try and swap to Jamili. Bean immediately evacuates, does not want to get taken out by Jamili's incarnation. Potentially a full moon. Full moon connects over to Snuts, doesn't do too much. Seedu now caught in a stun. Bean in trouble. Activates that blur. They use Guardian as well. Pops the meta, looks for a swap to Gorecki. Double Chaos Nova landed. If Snuts can get his warrior over there, there's going to be a lot of trouble for Tempo Storm. Jamili Barkskins, his entire team in trouble. Gorecki almost tapped on mana, and inevitably, I think Method Reborn are going to take this.
Yeah, absolutely. Gorecki really doesn't have anything left. He's caught into a mind control. The Blood Elf Silence over onto Jamili. Jamili's so dangerously low right now. Snuts can connect. He will go down, but the full blind coming in from Peekaboo is going to slow down some of that damage. Nice CC coming in from Temple Storm, keeping them alive a little bit longer, but Gorecki literally has no mana whatsoever, basically waiting for passive regen to get those spells off, and I don't think that's going to be enough healing to keep Jamili alive. He's into bear form right now, trying to avoid some damage. Kidney shot over on a Bean. He trinkets out of it. Mind control on Peekaboo. This is not looking good for Temple Storm whatsoever. C doesn't have too much left though for Bean. Bean getting really low. Fade's going to come in. He gets interrupted. Nice interrupt coming in from Peekaboo. Temple Storm remaining offensive in the midst of defeat, so really good job by them.
Yeah, they got Nether Walk, they got Bean's Trinket. Seedu doesn't have a Trinket, so Tempo Storm have one-shot wonder to kill Bean in the next attempt, but they're running out of time. Double Chaos Nova out from Bean, does get kidney shots, but unfortunately Mind Control denies any pressure, and Jamili's not going to solo Bean in the rest of that stun. He manages to get a Cyclone to get a crowd control chain going. They've got one-shot wonder, but with no stun, Bean can blur and deflect. Now dropping Fury of Illidari, really leading some damage towards Jamili, interrupting him on that Cyclone. Seedu caught into a Root Beam into a full Hex. Good crowd control up from Tempo Storm, but just no damage. It's Jamili, the one that is in trouble, displacing away, trying to survive. Snuts is chasing him down. Bean swaps to Peekaboo. Peekaboo going for one last stun attempt. Ray of Hope available and used. Seedu should be able to save Bean. He needs to deal with the kick, though. He's trying to fake cast with Flash Heal, and it doesn't matter. They just find the kill. Seedu faked himself to death and was not able to save Bean, but Jamili in the meantime, Gorecki has no mana, drops Spirit Link to try and restabilize and should be able to, I believe, from this position. Still 22% dampening. Snuts not giving up the chase. He's going to get kidney shot away. Maybe Gorecki with no mana could be in a hard position. Seedu is restabilized, at least with Snuts at full HP, but I don't think Snuts is going to be able to solo Gorecki. Jumps away, roots him off to the side. Method Reborn going to play this out. I can't help but feel that Seedu almost threw that at the end. He was just fake casting himself to death. Would it not have been better to just get kicked right away and then start spam casting? Either way, Tempo Storm managed to pull off a miracle in that last attempt.
Tempo Storm playing so well there. It was just, there's so many close calls for them. I really thought they were going to lose that game, but they managed to hold on.
Assassination, but here we go. Game number 3, we're tied 1-1. Tempo Storm pulled off a miracle to find that kill on Bean in game number 2. Can they keep pulling off these miracles?
Yeah, I'm excited to see how Peekaboo plays this game out. Been really, really interested to watch how he plays. Has a lot of good control, and interrupts kind of bouncing all over the place. I have to see what goes on. Jamili getting opened up onto right away. Full Fear over onto Gorecki. Jamili already having to use that bar skin, displacing away with that extra mobility. But Snuts able to reconnect right away. Full imprisonment over onto Gorecki as well as a stun. Jamili's still not out of it yet. Now Gorecki getting swapped to, having to use the Astral Shift down to 10% HP. Trinket Link, Astral Shift, everything used right away by Tempo Storm.
I mean, I think Gorecki may have overreacted, but at least he's not dead. So he goes 1-for-1 with Bean's cooldowns. That's going to open up an opportunity, though. Peekaboo trying to smoke bomb and swap to Snuts. We saw this swap in game number 2 and maybe find a kill. Rallying Cry buys him a second for Ray of Hope to line up. Another good swap like that could cost Snuts his life, though. Luckily, though, that was the smoke bomb to cause it, so it will be difficult for Tempo Storm to set up crowd control to make that opportunity happen again.
Yeah, Bean now could be in a little trouble. Full Cyclone over on the CD. Full moon connecting as well. well from Jamili. Nice pressure coming in from both teams right away. Kidney shot on Snuts, Cyclone over onto Bean. So Tempo Storm is trying to really control it up. I think Bean is really their target of choice. He has no blur, he has no trinket, so Tempo Storm has that window of opportunity. And this might be it. The full shear over onto Sea-Doo. Bean in the cheap shot. A lot of burst coming in from Jamili. And Peekaboo, the mind control on the Peekaboo though. Sea-Doo doing everything he can, but he's caught into the full hex. Bean needs to get away. He uses that nether walk so low on HP. Blind over onto Sea-Doo now. Bean is in so much trouble. The nether walk is going to fade. He's going to try to fell rush away, but it's not going to be enough. Tempo Storm dominating game number 3. Method had one close call on a Gorecki in that game, but after that, the control coming in from Peekaboo, so much crowd control from Tempo Storm, doing such a good job. Tempo Storm looking so good so far. Peekaboo, really, we were talking about sort of the MVP of this tournament. I've been really enjoying watching him. I think he's doing such a good job on the rogue so far, but we are in this game. Ruins of Lord are on. TSG coming in from Method Reborn. Tempo Storm once again going to be running the Subtlety Rogue. Moonkin, a Restoration Shot. We'll have to see how this one plays out. Yeah,
Tempo Storm really kind of out-pressured Sea-Doo in that last match, and now they forced a comp switch. Let's see what Tempo Storm can get done against this TSG. Dropping the smoke bomb early on towards Snuts like we saw in game number 2 and 3. Trying to pressure some cooldowns out from him. Not finding the die by the sword just yet, but they may need to. Anti-Magic Zone denies the damage for a couple more seconds. Spell Reflect used as well. Jamili gets denied on the Cyclone. Gorecki, though, gets wind sheared. Jamili down to half, and they can keep tunneling into him. He blinks back to safety. Snuts Blade Storms, but Peekaboo not able to chase after him. Jamili's going to run over the tomb to find the kill. Peekaboo reconnects, and Sea-Doo sitting through a full hex. Snuts is not using the die by the sword. He's still holding on to it. Ballsy move from Snuts. Sea-Doo connects the Spirit Link to restabilize, but Tempo Storm seemed to be on fire.
Yeah, Snuts had some nice line of sight into a fear, but now Sea-Doo is the one that's in trouble. Cheap shot into cheap shot. Gonna have to use that Ascendance to try to get that empowered healing. Still has his Astral Shift, not gonna be using it. Stormbolt over onto Jamili. Snuts doing a good job slowing down Tempo Storm just a little bit, keeping Sea-Doo alive, but he's still in trouble. He gets wind sheared as he leaps away behind the tomb. Peekaboo able to reconnect still. Those stun DRs are gonna be up very, very shortly. Sea-Doo needs to top himself off before he gets re-stunned. Jamili, though, in a lot of trouble. No bar skin available. Kidney shot over onto Sea-Doo. Asphyxiate over onto Gorecki as he gets gripped in. Bean and Snuts trying to counter pressure the best they can, but Tempo Storm crowd controlling everyone. Gorecki able to easily leap away. Bean not gonna have that grip to reconnect, so he should be fine.
Yeah, the Subtlety Rogue and Boomkin's consistent pressure is going to be a lot lower than a Death Knight and a Warrior, so that initial burst has now faded away, and Method Reborn can have a bit of free reign as they start tearing into Tempo Storm. Jamili down to half, trying to kite away in bear form. Peekaboo caught into a root, so Peekaboo and Jamili really getting shut down. Bean, Snuts, they want to run a Gorecki on that Resto Shaman. Can they connect? Bean gets cloned away. Jamili with roots to peel as well. Jamili crowd controlling both Bean and Snuts really well done as they set up a clean swap to Sea-Doo at a 3v1 behind the tomb. Sea-Doo tries to line of sight. If he gets interrupted one time, he could easily fall. He needs to be careful. Tries to kite away from that dog pile that Tempo Storm was laying into. Now Gorecki may have overextended. They stunned Jamili to deny Cyclones. Gorecki's getting pressured. He Earthen Shield Totems to stay afloat. Snuts really Blade Storming, but that's going to be completely negated by the Earthen Shield Totem, so well placed by Gorecki. Tempo Storm restabilized. Mana seems to be tied at this point. Still anyone's match. They start a crowd control chain. Kidney shot onto Sea-Doo. Don't manage to get the clone. Jamili's getting pressured away. Not able to follow it up. He pops Incarn to just go for damage. Snuts Spell Reflect stays in the anti-magic zone. Important for him to stay inside of that shield of protection because Jamili's damage is going to be insane right now.
Yeah, they're very, very well done by being there, but the root beam over onto Sea-Doo. Sea-Doo taking a bit of pressure. Jamili now also getting bursted down a little bit. Peekaboo training down. Sea-Doo trying to keep that pressure up onto him. Astral Shift was forced, but he's into the kidney shot now. Sea-Doo might just die through Astral Shift. What is his damage coming in from Tempo Storm? Sea-Doo trying to hold on just a little bit longer. Tournament life on the line. He gets cloned up at low HP. Beautifully done by Jamili. Peekaboo now switching his attention over onto Snuts, but you can bet they want to make another swap. He gets Hex low, and he gets taken out. Method Reborn eliminated from the tournament. Tempo Storm looking so good with this crowd control.
You know what's interesting is that I think Method Reborn, they're thinking too much about comp and not about play. I think in Dalaran that Sea-Doo just got massively outplayed. It was 2 interrupts into a hex, into stuff that he could have avoided, and then lost the game. Then it was like, okay, let's play something more durable. But this is a matchup that we've seen multiple times, and Boomkin Rogue has won it every single time. Would be more polished in that kind of play style, and yeah, Method Awakened want to respect that. Obviously, they don't have the burst kind of practice that Tempo Storm has, so they're going to go with something they've been playing a lot on the ladder. Didn't perform that well in the last series, but this is something they've prepared. Let's see how it fares against Tempo Storm. The Boomkin Tyrants really rocking the competition. Sap landed onto Gorecki, Sap landed onto Absturge. Back and forth, cheap shots onto the whole team by Roasties as they lead the aggression. Peekaboo down to half, Gorecki now out of the Sap. Should be able to easily thwart the initial assault. vault. Roasties needs to be careful here. Will he commit his blind or will he pull back? Peekaboo has moved in towards Absterge to try and pressure him. Goes for a kidney shot, commits for the kill to Absterge. Jamili dashing in now to try and connect some burst as well, but Absterge is already deflected. Healing Tide Totem is down. He's out of line of sight. Peekaboo gets swapped to. He pre-evasion the smoke bomb, but needs to survive the stun lock. Uses Vanish as well. Peekaboo's major cooldowns have been out of the way. If they can find an opportunity to get back to him, he will be in trouble.
Yeah, Method Awaken has a lot of control of this matchup so far. Kidney shot over on a Gorecki. Peekaboo could be in more trouble, but he's going to get topped off there by Gorecki. Full blind over on the Absterge with the kidney shot onto Rosys. Rosy has no trinket. He gets smoked. I was going to comment that Rosys is actually now playing an Orc Rogue with Relentless, and I was going to say that should be enough to keep him alive, but he just gets annihilated.
Normally, Jamili and Peekaboo pop Incarn and Shadow Blades at the same time. Instead, Peekaboo held on to Shadow Blades, and that's what allowed him to get the extra boost of damage to really put it to Roasties in those final seconds. Potentially, Roasties will need to play Trinkets so he can avoid those deadly situations. Looks like Absterge will be the one switching to Trinkets, so what I would like to see from Tempo Storm is a situation that Zico explained. They should open on Absterge right off the start. If he Trinkets, then later on, they can blind him and kill Roasties. I really think it's important for Tempo Storm to start the fight on Absterge.
Yeah, they need to get that Trinket out right away so we can see that beautiful swap onto Roses again. Like Sid just said, we'll have to see how they decide to open up. Both rows going to be in stealth, pushing in, looking for a sap. We'll have to see if either of them can land it. Roses has Earth Shield on himself, so if Peekaboo can land a sap onto Absterge and they can open onto him, that would be wonderful for Tempo Storm. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to. Absterge is in combat. Jamili's going to get opened up onto right away. Peekaboo just still sitting in stealth, waiting for an opportunity. I really feel like they want to open up onto Absterge with no Earth Shield. If they can do that, they can force a lot of cooldowns. Full kidney shot into Absterge. Absterge's going to be in a lot of trouble. He might have to Trinket Full Fear over onto Peekaboo, though, into a kidney shot. Peekaboo playing Relentless, so he has no opportunity to get out of those stuns or the fear to really finish off Absterge.
I think that Warrior Fear was wasted. They used Warrior Fear and Kidney Shot, so Peekaboo can have free reign, knowing that that fear isn't available for Gorecki, and he may just train down Absterge. Jamili can get good spread pressure on the melee by dragging them away. I think that's going to be a win condition. They start a blind. They burst down Jamili. They drop the smoke bomb. He Trinket displaces out into an Earthen Shield. Good coordination. Absterge getting soloed by Peekaboo, but now Peekaboo getting punished. Gorecki needs to save him. Imagine if there was a fear here for Gorecki. Peekaboo would be so much trouble. I think that overuse of cooldowns to save Absterge is going to cost them the match. And look at this. Absterge has no Trinket. Perfect situation to set up a kill on Roasties.
Yeah, that might have been a missed opportunity. Jamili now getting swapped to getting interrupted there. In the middle of the map, he has Earth Shield, making him a little bit more tanky. No Trinket available. Full kidney shot over on a Gorecki. Jamili's still in a lot of trouble. He has to bear for him. He's trying to get away, gets stunned up. Gorecki doesn't have Earthen Shield Totem, but he still has Spirit Link, so he can keep Jamili alive with that. Peekaboo is still trying to look for an opportunity. I think they want to keep making these swaps over onto Absterge, but Absterge, although he doesn't have a Trinket, he has most of his cooldowns left.
Jamili's just fake casting until he gets the clone, the kidney shot. They look for the kill. Absterge without Relentless sits through a lot more duration of stunts. Smexon peels Peekaboo away with a disarm. Really well done. Buys Absterge time to recover. Now they can swap, though, as soon as they're out of this stun lock. It does seem like Roasties is desperate to make something happen, but Gorecki is in the perfect position, and as the analysts were saying, Gorecki needs to be pressured. He's just having free reign in the backline. Peekaboo's the one that's harassing Absterge. He's having a hard time dealing with Peekaboo's pressure, always below half, now caught into a kidney shot. Smoke bomb gets dropped. They're going for the kill. Fear them away. Nice double fear from Smexon. I like that use of it if they're going to focus on defense. Now Gorecki caught into a kidney shot. There's the swap over to him. Will he be able to survive? They wind-sheared Jamili, denying the clone, buying them more time to train down Gorecki. Gorecki does not feel safe. Trades out Spirit Link, redistributes his health. They solar beam Absterge in the backline. If Peekaboo can sneak his way over there, as rogues likely do, they may be able to find a kill. Peekaboo shadow steps to a totem to get in line of sight of Absterge. Now looking to follow up with a stun. Popping his Orc Rachel, trying to boost his damage. Lands a stun. Jamili pops Incarn, looking to find the kill. No wall, only Spirit Link available. He trinkets in the final seconds to Spirit Link and restabilize. Tempo Storm now in trouble. Peekaboo getting swapped over to, trades out the evasion and will recover. Now we're in an awkward situation where both teams are running out of cooldowns.
Yeah, Rosys is a little bit low as well. He's trying to push in to keep this pressure out onto Peekaboo. Full Moon going to be connecting onto Rosys. He's getting low, but Absterge in a good position to heal him up. Full blind over on a Gorecki, deciding not to Trinket as Rosys is in a full blind right now. So nice to see coming in from Jamili. Rosys looking for that sap, but he's not going to be able to get it. Unfortunately for him, Jamili denies that with that crowd control. Rosys still a little low. Everyone is sort of topped off at this point in the game. Everyone on Tempo Storm has their Trinket. Absterge has no Trinket. Full blind on him. Rosys in a lot of trouble. Relentless not going to do much for him in that kidney shot. He's able to get out of it. Might have to use his evasion, spamming out that feint. You can guarantee it. Cheap shot over onto Jamili. Now Jamili in a little bit of trouble, using that bar skin, trying to survive. Gorecki in a good position, though, to just spam out those heals. Full root beam over onto Abster. It's going to be interrupting him. Shadow Blade's going to be popped by Roasties. He wants to continue this pressure. Method Awaken wants to get aggressive in game number 2, but because of Gorecki's positioning, he's able to just heal everyone up quite easily.
Here comes another swap. They Cyclone Smexen to deny any peels from the Warrior. I think it was a smart move by Jamili, but it doesn't look like they have enough damage to kill Absterge without Incarnation. They're really relying on Peekaboo's Shadow Blades, which is not enough. Absterge is able to line of sight. They go for a kidney shot on Gorecki. They're looking to set up the kill. Jamili blinks the Shadow Step back, but now lines them up for a double Fear. Fear will not be available to disarm an attack on Absterge, though. So now with that Fear out of the way, if Jamili can re-stabilize and get on top of Absterge, I don't know how he's going to survive this. Gorecki jumps in, looks for a Hex out of the kidney shot. Peekaboo comes back to peel. He's going to stun up Roasties. Unfortunately getting disarmed, not able to follow it up. Now into a Root Solar Beam. So a stun into a Hex, into a Solar Beam, into a full clone. Roasties very low on health. Luckily has Earth Shield, but they managed to proc that off with some Star Surges. Down below half. Absterge in an awkward situation. Roasties drops Smoke Bomb to find an opportunity. Jamili blinks out with Trinket. They swap back to Absterge. Incarnation available and pop by Jamili. One Star Surge connects. Absterge ducks out of line of sight. Roasties gets cloned at low HP. Jamili wants to move in and finish this. Will he find the opportunity? Trying to full moon out of the clone. Doesn't line it up perfectly. Now looking to find a kill still. Counter-strike down behind the pillar. Killed off by Jamili. Now still just spamming out Lunar Strikes. Absterge trying to recover. Both Shamans completely owned. Full blind on Gorecki. Surprising to not see him trinket this. They trade out Barkskin instead. Will the greed cost Gorecki the match? Peekaboo looking for a cross kill on Absterge at the same time. Jamili can't back him up. Peekaboo cloaks offensive, trying to stay on target. Will he be able to take down Absterge before Smexen takes out Jamili is the question.
Yeah, Gorecki ended up trinketing that sap anyway, so might have wanted to trinket that a little early to keep Jamili aggressive, but now Jamili looks like he's completely fine. Full Hex over onto Absterge, clone over onto Roasties. I don't know who Temple Storm is looking to go for right now. Temple Storm now going to be dropping Spirit Link as well. Gorecki forced to use that cooldown. Full kidney shot over onto Roasties. Smoke Bomb has been popped. Roasties walking out of it, allowing Absterge to heal him up a little bit. Absterge line of sight. You can see Gorecki completely at this point in the game. Only 5% dampening. Full Fear over onto Gorecki. He has no trinket available. Peekaboo trying to survive. It gets cheap shot though. All he has is Vanish. He's in a lot of trouble. No trinket going to be available. Still just running away, trying to avoid some of this damage. Gorecki gets swapped to, having to use that Astral Shift as well. Method Awaken has all the momentum on their side right now. Jamili has to find an opening. Beam over onto Absterge into a full Hex. Now Smexen could be in trouble, but Smexen, realizing the situation, uses the die by the sword early, which I think is very intelligent.
Yeah, swap back to Jamili. Gorecki is completely tapped on mana. Absterge still has a hint of mana. A lot of cooldowns. This is in favor of Method Awaken. They may have found an opportunity unless Tempo Storm can pull off a one-shot wonder here and now. Bursting down Absterge with a double Star Surge. Not enough damage to find the kill. Trades out Astral Shift. Now Jamili on the back foot, caught into a cheap shot. Will displace back to Gorecki. Gorecki connecting a good heals. Good teamwork between Jamili and Gorecki, repositioning. Now they swap to Peekaboo, and that bandsaw of Smexen is starting to let it rip. Peekaboo caught into a stun, looking to burst him down. Not enough damage to finish him off. Gorecki barely hanging on as Tempo Storm are in full retreat.
Yeah, Peekaboo pops the Shadow Blade, so both Incarnation as well as the Shadow Blade is going to be up for Temple Storm. They have an opportunity to kill here. Absterge has no trinket. If they can land any CC over onto him, Roasties could be in a lot of trouble. Full Moon connects. Absterge just connecting the heal over and over. The full kidney shot over onto Absterge. They're swapping over onto him. This is Temple Storm's maybe last opportunity to win this game. If they can get Absterge down, he really doesn't have much left. All he has is a Spirit Link. He needs to make sure that he uses it.
Oh no!
He's only get caught into a stun, but Peekaboo in a lot of trouble. Full blind over onto Gorecki. Peekaboo getting dangerously low into a Fear on Gorecki. How is Peekaboo going to survive? Just spamming out feint over and over. Smex connects with the execute, and that will end up winning the game for Method Awaken.
Yeah, Peekaboo overstayed his welcome. Roasties and Smexen with a punishing swap. Gorecki with no mana left, and Method Awaken finally put a win on the board, tying the series 1-1.
Yeah, good job by Method Awaken. They were able to stall out the game long enough, survive all of the swaps of Tempo Storm. Peekaboo not having a trinket, he's playing Relentless. Every time he wanted to go for those swaps on Absterge, Roasties and Smexen had an answer with the Fear and the stuns.
The thing is if Method Awaken blind lock in Rogue Warrior, would Rogue Mage not just completely shut that out?
It might, yeah. So Temple Storm winning game number 1 might have that advantage now. They can play Rogue Mage into the setup if they really have to. Could be, yeah.
Peekaboo got baited. Maybe he didn't need to commit right at that second, although Gorecki was out of mana, so it was pressuring him to do that. If the same situation happens where Roasty is overextending like that, the same thing can happen to him. Smexen brings good disruption, basically the same amount of tankiness as the Moonkin, so I don't know. I feel like this is an even matchup. This is going to go to whoever sets up the best.
Whoever plays the best, sets up the best. That's always good to see. You can see Roasties opting to go with Relentless again. He was spec Trinket in the beginning, but last-minute decision. I guess he decided to go with Relentless, like we saw in the last game. Amster's opting to play that Trinket again, as well as Jamili and Gorecki. So a lot of breaks in this game. We'll have to see how they use it. It's going to be very important for these teams if they want to survive these setups, also land some kills, to use those trinkets appropriately.
I think Jamili's incarnation, the second incarnation, didn't get anything. So Jamili needs to really focus up, make sure his incarnations are high pressure ones and bursting people down. They start with Root Solar Beam. This one Zico was talking about. Will they swap to Absterge out of the Solar Beam is the question. No, Jamili's getting pressured. He's dropped in a Smoke Bomb. They can't switch out. Good peels. Now Full Fear on Gorecki. Maybe overlapped a bit with the Smoke Bomb. It's going to last to the duration at least. But Jamili just traded out Barkskin to survive that. So he's going to be perfectly fine. He's trying to get aggressive over towards Absterge, maybe get on top of him. Peekaboo now getting swapped too. Roasty gets cloned away. Earthen Shield Totem Venn diagram for a second, but it seems to have faded. Full blind on Absterge. Trinket's blind right of way. So now Absterge needs to be careful if they swap to him. Peekaboo already committed the Shadow Blade, so he'll be on a clock to swap. If Absterge can just stay behind that pillar, he should be all right.
Yeah, I think Smexen and Roasties both have the ability to peel Peekaboo enough to keep Absterge alive. Jamili already using his incarnation, and like you said, really not accomplishing much. Smoke Bomb going to be used over onto Smexen, getting bursted down a little bit. Nice cross CC coming in from actually Method Awaken. Roasting doing a good job peeling up everyone from Temple Storm there, keeping Smexen alive. So now Method Awaken has an opportunity to get aggressive. Jamili's still a great target, doesn't have that bark skin out for quite some time. Actually, it's coming up very, very shortly. Smexen's still low though. Absterge is not able to connect the heals. Peekaboo and Jamili doing a lot of consistent damage here. Now full kitty shot over on Absterge. Looks like they're swapping over onto him. Peekaboo known for swapping around, creating pressure all over the place. Jamili connects a lot of damage. Astral Shift has to be used by Absterge. He's trying to kite away, get out of line of sight. Smexen back there as well, getting some heals from Absterge, and now Method Awaken wants to, they feel comfortable enough where they want to push out, get this pressure over on a Peekaboo. Kitty shot into a cheap shot on Peekaboo. Peekaboo getting smoked. Manages to get out that third cheap shot using that evasion. Gorecki in the back. He wasn't even crowd controlled at all. That was just sheer damage going out on the Peekaboo.
He was trying to drink. He got full mana, but had to trade out a vital defensive cooldown in exchange. Jamili gets swapped too. Now he's going to Barkskin, try and tank that out, try and punish Roasties for overextending a bit there, but Absterge already has Earthshield on him. They're not going to commit to that, and Peekaboo just keeps attacking whatever doesn't have Earthshield. They go for a Root Solar Beam, but Absterge, I think, pre-dispelled the Root, so he was able to get out of that silent Solar Beam. Jamili just tossing some damage to him, and I think it's important for Jamili to split his pressure off of Peekaboo. That way, Absterge is in an awkward situation. If two people are at 70%, who does he put Earthshield on? Who are they swapping to? And Jamili needs to be the one that keeps Absterge on his toes. Smexen leaping in for the kill. Lands a Full Fear, charges back to Peekaboo, connecting off the kidney shot. Spam purges out from Absterge, really committing for an all-in, but not finding the opportunity. Jamili now looking to reverse with his incarnation. He needs to get as much damage as possible in this critical moment. Smexen may opt to just retreat away. They stun up Roasties. They look to swap to him. Absterge jumps in, realizing the situation is scary. Windshears Jamili, interrupts the damage, but now full moon attempt, trying to fake cast through the interrupts. Not able to find it. Goes for Solar Wrath instead, just spamming out as much damage as possible. Peekaboo Shadow Steps over to Absterge. Absterge trolling Peekaboo and kiting away. Peekaboo had to use a Shadow Dance to reconnect. Now they swap with it. Absterge uses Astral Shift in those final seconds, but now they can switch back over to Roasties, and Absterge in a hard situation gets Solar Beamed. Pops Ascendance, desperately trying to recover. Roasties makes a desperate swap to Gorecki. Shadow stepping over. Cheap shot. Peekaboo peels away Smexen. Absterge into a clone. 3v1 on Roasties. Good peels from Jamili and Peekaboo. Gorecki can shake that off quite easily.
Yeah, Method Awaken is trying to get Earthshield onto Gorecki so they can make a swap over onto Peekaboo. Gorecki now very susceptible to a full blind. He trinketed a fear earlier, so that's really, I think that's the setup that Method Awaken wants, but they're just not able to do it. Gorecki realizing the situation. Roasties now into a cheap shot. He's taking a little bit of damage as Temple Storm swaps over onto him. Peekaboo, a very good target. If Gorecki switches that Earthshield, he will get blinded. Full kidney shot though over onto Gorecki. Roasties just wants to punish him as much as possible. Smexen's still low, gets cycloned low. Absterge not able to connect those heals. Gorecki still just refusing to switch his Earthshield. But looks like he's going to be okay.
Something these melee cleaves keep doing against Boomkin teams is tunneling one person. I don't think it's going to work. If you both on the Boomkin, he's ready for that. They keep Earth Shield on him. I think it's important for Smexen and Roasties to attack different targets. In the meantime, Peekaboo setting up a swap to Absturge. Barely ducks out of line of sight to survive it. What I would really like to see is Smexen pressure Gorecki and Roasties pressure Jamili and just constantly stun the Boomkin, keep him in crowd control while Smexen tries to slow the healer. In the meantime, setting up some damage here with the smoke bomb on Smexen, really bursting him down. Full blind onto Absturge. If they get a sap out of this, it could just be the end of the match. Peekaboo moving over, looking for the sap. Will Smexen be able to disarm it? I believe he's able to stall it out. They had to use Kidney Shot instead. Jamili, can he follow it up? But does he have a Solar Beam? Smexen still low on health. Absturge playing very greedy. Really balls of steel there from Absturge to hold on to the Spirit Link. Now trying to move cast to recover. Smexen stabilized. Peekaboo swaps. Roasty pre-cloaks the follow-up stun. He will survive. Mana in favor of Gorecki. Tempo Storm, they have the momentum. Can they keep it?
Yeah, Method Awaken survives. One more incarnation from Jamili. Now Gorecki in a little bit of trouble. The stuns over onto him, gets down to 10%. Spirit Link forced out right away. Roasties into the Cyclone, Smexen into the Kidney Shot. So Tempo Storm doing a good job defusing that, but fortunately Gorecki still having to use that Spirit Link totem. Still has Trinket, Astral Shift, Earthen Shield totem, uses the Earthen Shield totem, trying to prevent some of this damage. Gorecki, because of that key drink earlier on in the game, is ahead on mana now at this point in dampening. We're at 4%. Jamili having to use Bark Skin, but really these swaps over on Jamili not accomplishing too much besides occasionally getting Bark Skin. So I don't know if it's the most effective strategy. I really like when they're making those swaps over onto Gorecki. It seems like the Shaman swaps, the Shaman pressure is going to be key to winning this game. Roasty's in a bit of trouble now. Earth Shield's going to be swapped over onto him. He's trying to kite away, spamming a feint over and over. Absturge able to get out those heals though, as Roasties gets Cyclone low.
The thing is, Absturge played aggressive and purged a bit as well, so that's why his mana is even more significantly behind. They stun up Gorecki. They go for the all-in. Can they wombo combo Gorecki down? Jamili peels, Peekaboo peels, and Gorecki survives the stun. Now kiting into the open. Important to note that Gorecki is not moving to the pillar. This is normally a classic move as a healer, but against 2 melee, it's important for Gorecki to be in the open so that Jamili can support him. Gorecki is making very long lines, trying to kite across the map. However, caught into a blind. Jamili sees it coming. Pre-bear forms. Will the pre-bear form be enough? Jamili tries to blink to safety as Peekaboo sets a swap to Absturge. Absturge jumps away from the swap. Smexen pressuring Peekaboo. We saw this in game number 2. If Peekaboo overextends, he gets punished. Caught into a stun. Burst following it up. Now a cheap shot. Gorecki tries to save him with the Ascendance rolling and evasion. Peekaboo will not go down. Absturge, Smexen in full retreat. No mana left. Tempo Storm completely full on health with a significant mana lead. If they can get in here and just push them over, it's looking in their favor. Full blind. Absturge Trinkets does not want to fall behind. They swap to Smexen. No die by the sword available. Lands a full hex. Gorecki sneaking another full hex in to find the win, and Gorecki MVP once again. Huge misplay from Absturge there to get caught by that. He could have easily line of sighted. Well done from Tempo Storm. They're one win away from being the Method Slayers and advancing to the grand finals to take down Baby Rage.
At that point in the game and at that point in dampening, when you have that much mana, it just feels such an efficient trade to use the Spirit Link totem. I don't know why he didn't. Got out of crowd control before the hex.
While I can see the value, obviously, if you hold the healer for 8 seconds in a silence, that he's probably just going to die no matter what he does.
I can imagine a Windwalker monk running over with Serenity attacking.
We should try it.
Yeah, let's do it. We're going to do that. Bringing the EU meta over to NA, but enough of that. This is game number 4. Tempo Storm just one a game away from knocking out Method Awaken. Method Awaken trying to hold on just a little bit longer. Such a close series so far. All of these games have been exceptionally close. Jamili now getting cheap shot. Looks like they're going to be opening up onto him.
Yeah, I really think Smexen and Roasties need to change up their targeting. I think they should split damage and then set up with Fear or Blind off whoever doesn't have Earth Shield. But if they're both attacking the same guy, it's very easy. They drop a smoke bomb on Smexen. They're really trying to commit a kill to him. He jumps into D stance. They're trying to punish the battle stance. They got a bit of a punishment out of that. They got Trinket out of Absturge, so critical move. Now they can set up for a win on Roasties with the Root Solar Beam into a stun. So I would really like to see a swap back to Roasties here soon from Tempo Storm.
Yeah, we'll have to see if that's going to happen. Jamili gets sheared up. So nice interrupts coming in from Absturge early on. That was the incarnation coming in from Jamili. Really not getting too much done. Full blind onto Gorecki. Kitty shot over on into Peekaboo. I'm not sure who Method Awaken is trying to get down this particular time. Roasty gets cycloned up, so good job by Jamili slowing down another attack coming in from Method Awaken. Jamili displacing away once again. The Moonkin with Displacer Beast with that high mobility. Jamili doing a great job trying to go for that full moon, but Smexen interrupts it, shuts that down.
Gorecki caught into a kidney shot. Roasty's trying to lead the charge for his team here. Not getting too much damage, so over into that Boomkin, now into a full fear. He jumps into bear form, tanks it out. He had Earth Shield for that entire setup. And again, I just don't think tunneling a Boomkin with Earth Shield is going to be the right strategy unless they're trying to just win in dampening, which they also might not. They land the Root Solar Beam on Absterge. They're still going on Smexen though, which is very surprising. They drop Smoke Bomb to reverse and punish Peekaboo. Gorecki runs in and gets stunned as he runs in. Really like to see a Hex maybe with a stun on Jamili at the same time. Doesn't find the opportunity to do it. Roasty's now getting punished by Peekaboo. Kidney shot on Absterge. Roasty low on health, vanishes to try and avoid the attacks. Smexen caught to stun. Nice Hex from Gorecki again. Will the Hex win the series for them? Do they have enough damage? Still going after Smexen. Spell Reflect denies the kill. Star Surging right afterwards, forcing that die by the sword, and the pressure on Smexen has been very high, trying to force him away. Still low on health. Absterge into another Hex. It's a DR'd Hex. Gorecki hexes so much he DRs himself into a full clone, and Tempo Storm's crowd control is absolutely insane. Roasty's at 1% falls, and Tempo Storm completely destroy Method Awakened. Gorecki is just insane, constantly landing these hexes, showing these shamans what's up. Now they will have a chance at the $8,000 prize pool in the grand finals. Insane play from Tempo Storm. Their momentum was stalled out, but not completely stopped as they continue the comeback train. Jamili hates when people play defensive. He hates pillars. So if Baby Rage can maybe play into the emotions of Tempo Storm, they can get wins off of that.
Yeah, and they only need to win 3 games to close out this grand finals. Tempo Storm, on the other hand, they have to win this series and then another best of 5. So we'll have to see what happens. I definitely think Tempo Storm has what it takes, but Baby Rage has been surprising me all of today and all of yesterday. So we'll have to see how it plays out.
Yeah, expected composition start here. Sap on Envious. They're going to open up onto the enhancements. Shaman already popping that incarnation. Hots opts to use the astral shift in the line of sight. So sick defensive play there to survive the initial burst. They Stormbolt up Jamili, looking for some burst onto him. They deny the incarnation pressure as well, but a Voodoo Totem denies the kill. Solar Beam on Envious, still chasing down Hots. Peekaboo really going after him. I'd like to see Vices maybe come back and attack Peekaboo instead, force him away, but Hots is playing that defensive strategy, usually using Ghost Wolf to its full effectiveness to line of sight and avoid pressure. They know they can win on mana in the late game. Envious trying to pre-fade a kidney shot. Not sure if he actually managed to find it. We'll see soon. He did not. Peekaboo didn't fall for the bait. Now lands the stun. Follows up with a cross stun on Hots. Hots again on the run, trying to avoid Jamili's pressure. He's trying to stay out of line of sight of the balance turret until Envious leaves crowd control, then immediately turning it around. But Gorecki has shut down these Stormbolt attempts every time with his Voodoo Totem. So we've seen Hots and Envious in the past play this composition. Envious has to coordinate his stun at the same time as Vice is on both Gorecki and the kill target to deny those kinds of peels.
Yeah, Baby Rage plays it very interesting. A lot of the time they don't go for cross CC, they just go for maximum damage on a target. I really feel like if Envious went in for that stun on Gorecki, they could get a lot more pressure. We can see him throwing out that Chastise on a Peekaboo, really not getting too much done whatsoever. Tempo Storm looks to be in a fine position. Hots JK Purge doing what he does best, line of sighting, but he wants to get aggressive, doing some damage over onto Jamili right now. Gorecki's still just free to cast. He can just throw out cast whenever he wants. He can also throw down that Voodoo Totem like you were talking about, shutting down any sort of pressure and momentum that Vices and Hots have.
Yeah, Envious sat through a Solar Beam there. Jamili wasn't able to follow with the Cyclone. I believe Envious faded and Vices pummeled the follow-up, so really good coordination between Vices and Envious. Now Envious mind-controlling Peekaboo away. Vices pummels a Full Moon. They pop the Bloodlust off that pummel, but get cloned and kidney shot. Tempo Storm completely shut down this kill attempt once again. Jamili getting mind-controlled. Envious baiting Purges. They swap to Peekaboo at the same time, forcing an evasion of basically nothing. Now mind-controlling Peekaboo low on health, trying to control him while that evasion is up, deny the healing. They take a big mana swing lead here against Gorecki. Every time Envious can sneak these mind controls out, Gorecki has to purge them off, or his teammates just gonna be crowd control for 8 seconds, so it's a hard decision.
Yeah, you can tell. I don't know if you can tell, but Jamili might be getting frustrated here. Baby Rage doing what they do best, line of sight and kick over on Envious, and now we're trying to start out that CC chain with that interrupt. Maybe a little bit of damage being thrown over onto Envious. He's going to fade. Shouldn't be in any trouble whatsoever. Jamili using his Incarnation right now, trying to get out that extra damage. Kidney shot onto Envious. Tempo Storm has had enough of chasing Hots around the pillar, looking like they want to get some damage over onto this Holy Priest, but Envious should be okay. He uses that Holy Ward. He's not going to get stunned up at all, and now has an opportunity to actually cast. faking that
nice
beam coming in from Jamili, so good job by Envious.
They're still keeping pressure on Envious, but Jamili has to overextend to do that as well. Envious trying to stay out of the solar beam, get back to the pillar, still trying to fake cast Peekaboo's kick, and Peekaboo holds onto that kick forever. We saw it against Sea-Doo, and they found a kill, and Envious might be in the same situation. Drop smoke bomb, Vices ducks into that and disarms Peekaboo, buying Envious time to start spamming out those flash heals and re-stabilize. Vices still storm bolting Jamili, every storm bolt into him, but that allows Gorecki to easily Voodoo Totem it, which is basically the same duration of crowd control by the time Haunts and Vices can move out of it, so they're getting no pressure. They're going to swap to Peekaboo with the Chastise now with Voodoo Totem out of the way. Try and burst him down. They got evasion earlier on. Now they force his vanish. They Spearlink nothing. They killed the Spearlink off. Huge misplay, and maybe the first misplay we're going to see from Gorecki. Baby Rage in a great position.
Yeah, absolutely. Now Jamili getting swapped to. Baby Rage's strategy in this game appears to be just do damage and survive. Attack, attack, attack. The Holy Priest will, of course, have that mana advantage, so they're just playing to that. They don't need to push in and get over-aggressive to get crowd control, mind control. Now onto Peekaboo, and Gorecki decides to purge that off. Every single time he purges off those mind controls, he's burning a little bit of his mana, so kind of like an indirect mana burn spell for Envious when he throws out those mind controls. Kidney shot onto Envious, trying to get some pressure out onto him as well. That is going to be a beam over onto Envious, but he just walks out of it. Should be able to easily top off Hots. Mind control over onto Peekaboo once again. He gets Chastise stunned, so Envious is trying to throw as much control as possible onto Peekaboo to slow down some of this Tempo Storm damage. You can see Gorecki, I think he actually went down for a drink, so very smart play. He's going to have to look for those early drinks. Doesn't want to be in a position where he falls way behind on mana.
Yeah, so we're kind of in a neutral position. If Jamili and Peekaboo overextend, they risk losing the match. If Hots and Vices move into the middle of the map, they risk being isolated and bursted down. So it's a bit of a stalemate that's being created. Mind control on Jamili. Full Moon basically doing nothing there for Jamili. He has Incarnation. Peekaboo has Shadow Blades. As long as they can defuse this next attack. Vices popped his Battle Cry, but Hots got cloned at the same time. So that's going to disorganize their Doom Winds combo. Vices damage will be lower if Hots pulls the trigger very soon, which I think he wants to. Disarm onto Peekaboo. Hots just playing Ring Around the Rosie with the pillar, now caught into a kidney shot. Jamili can connect over here with the Incarnation. Tons of damage coming out of nowhere and killing him outright. Envious unable to connect the Ray of Hope in time. And yeah, Jamili Peekaboo find that burst opportunity with both of their powerhouse cooldowns, taking him out in a matter of seconds. I'm really wondering if Envious needed to trinket the blind that he did earlier. He was locked out at the same time. We saw that when he trinketed, he was still solar beam interrupted, so maybe he didn't need to use his trinket in that situation. They landed cross crowd control. They easily killed Chanimal off. So if Baby Rage can stay defensive during the times they need to, but also find moments to be offensive, that's when they're going to be able to find their stride and find their wins. But if they're still under pressure, if they're not ready for this in the grand final, and they're focused too much on defense, I think Tempo Storm will inevitably find a win.
Yeah, we need to see Envious getting those stuns on a Gorecki so they can get those stuns either on a Peekaboo or Jamili, get that burst off. Vendetta's going to be used onto Hots right away, so a lot of damage coming in. Might have to actually use that Astral Shield. It looks like Ray of Hope will be traded out by Envious, but he's not getting too much healing into it. Bloodlust was used as well onto Jamili. He has to use Bark Skin, and really that Ray of Hope not topping off Hots. That Mortal Strike effect doing work as well as all that Vendetta damage. Stun over onto Peekaboo now. Hots trying to connect some damage over onto him. Envious gets locked out. Still not able to top off Hots. That Astral Shift will fade as well. Luckily, Envious was able to MD that Cyclone, so he can finally top off Hots now into the full Kidney Shot. Tempo Storm has a lot of pressure early on.
Yeah, the thing is that Peekaboo will lose a lot of crowd control for Envious, and I think if Envious sees that opening, we're going to see more mind controls, spam crowd control from him. Right now, the damage seems to be really high, though, difficult for him to deal with. Gets sheared on that heal, but he timed it so he got sheared while Hots was cloned, so it's well timed. Voodoo Totem again from Gorecki is going to deny a lot of Holy Wards. It's going to just stop their burst entirely, so it seems like Envious is going to be under a lot of pressure. Jamili kiting away, baiting Vices, looking for a clone, finds a clone on Envious with a stun on Hots, combos with the Star Surge. Hots ducks out of line of sight behind the box. Not going to be feeling too much pressure right now as Peekaboo and Jamili's cooldowns aren't available for a little bit. Peekaboo's are going to come up sooner. I'd really like to see Peekaboo's Vendetta force the wall, and then maybe Jamili uses Incarn after the wall. We saw in the start they used both at the same time. Hots basically got a 2-for-1 trade on those cooldowns, got competitively ahead. They look for the Kidney Shot. They commit the Vendetta. This is where they need to try and force something, but unfortunately Baby Rage doesn't have anything to force. So they're in desperate dire straits trying to turn this around. Doesn't seem like they're able to, and Hots is still just taking damage from Peekaboo and Jamili, and I think Baby Rage might be in a situation where the Grand Finals is stressing them out too much. Tempo Storm are walking all over them.
Yeah, look at Gorecki. He's just in the middle of the map, not being pressured at all, not being CC'd at all, just doing whatever he wants the entire game. He can throw purges, he can throw all heals without interruption. Vices needs to be pressuring him a little bit. They need to get some sort of crowd control on him if they want to have any hope of winning this game. Jamili, once again, Earth Shield on him, trying to get some damage, but it's just so easy for Gorecki to heal through it. And now with an interrupt on NBS, Astral Shift is forced onto Hots, and he's just having to play defensive the entire game. This is not what you like to see out of a Turbo Clee. They're just forced on defense, not making anything happen, really.
I mean, right now I think it's important for them to play defense, live through the incarnation. As soon as that is over, they should start setting things up, but they may not get the opportunity. A full stun onto Hots. NVS really needs to keep him alive here. He has Ray of Hope and Guardian available. Doesn't want to throw the match. One Star Surge crit could put him over the edge, and NVS doesn't want to take the gamble. Trades out Ray of Hope. He'll top him off very easily. Jamili calling out Vices, knowing that the kill now is lost. Gorecki going for a drink at the backline, maybe. Very important for him to maintain his mana, because that's really the only advantage that Baby Rage could get out of this situation. So I would almost like to see Gorecki move back and sit down for a drink. He may be a little bit worried about leaving his partners. They're setting up for a stun kill here onto Hots with no wall, and Vendetta pop. So Envious has Guardian to deflect this attack. He gets cloned though at low health. If Jamili can move over, Mass Dispels the clone. That means Hots is still going to take the Vendetta pressure. He fades the root. Really well done from Envious. He avoids the Solar Beam as a result. Good read from Envious. Gorecki still playing on the outside, but look at that mana bar. If he doesn't find a way to drink, that could be a way for Baby Rage to climb back.
Yeah, Bloodlust has been popped. A lot of damage over onto Jamili, but once again, Earth Shield. Barskin going to be popped now. A swap over on a Peekaboo. He's able to get that evasion off. He should be just fine, hovering around 40% HP. Gorecki not really pressured too much, so he can get those casts off to top him off. But like Supertees was saying, Gorecki at around 40% mana right now is actually sitting down for a drink. So if he can get a nice drink here, Peekaboo's going to be kiting away, spamming out the Fang. Cloak of Shadow is going to be used. And now Baby Rage really has no mana advantage whatsoever. Temple Storm can continue to do that, which, I mean, Baby Rage is allowing them to. That's going to be good for Temple Storm.
Still kind of surprised that Peekaboo isn't playing the Fan and Ice specs. I can't imagine either option, System Shock or Crippling Venom, I think it's called, would actually even be better. Like in this position, he could literally fan the whole team, and it'd be just way more pressure for Envious to heal through. Maybe he doesn't want the Paramending to bounce, but the Boomkin's going to trigger that anyway, so I'm interested to see why Peekaboo's so focused on single target. I think in this position, now he's starting to use Fan and Knives a little bit more. I think it's more of him poking them down. Doesn't want to overextend behind the pillar without evasion. He could be an opening target here. Gorecki needs to be careful with his Earth Shield, make sure that it's on Peekaboo, and I believe that it is. Jamili getting forced back. He doesn't want to go out of line of sight. That might control Jamili while the kidney shot landed. Now followed into a root Solar Beam. Double Solar Beam to deny the Astral Shift for a couple of seconds. Voodoo Totem denying it even further. A full clone landed, but Hots trades out that Astral Shift. Now in full retreat, but it's a double wombo combo from Jamili. Vendetta, Incarn, same time. Hots trying to barely hang on. Ray of Hope pauses the damage and allows Hots to turn this around with a Bloodlust pop, but Jamili sees it coming. Has Barkskin. Gorecki already pre-healing him, maintaining his health very high. Gorecki now jumping in, looking to get a root totem behind the pillar. Maybe if they try and retreat away. Still going to be a bit of a stalemate match. They're trying to keep going after Jamili. They got his Barkskin. They want to commit for the kill onto him. Earthen Shield totem is available. Kind of surprised to not see it. Now he drops it down. Hots gets cloned for a second behind Peekaboo. The time he needs to re-stabilize. Gorecki has been doing a good job getting drinks and maintaining his mana. They commit the blind, but they break it. Jamili's Lunar Strike there, breaking the blind, and Envious can hold onto his trinket. I think this is the opportunity that they've been waiting for. What can they really get done with it?
I'm not sure, but I haven't seen a single fear out of Vices this entire game. 0 chastises on Gorecki, 0 fears onto him, so no CC at all. They're really just trying to win on damage. Peekaboo getting a little bit low. I mean, the Turbo Cleave has that damage, but a full root beam over onto Envious right now. Hots having to run away once again. You're going to be using these boxes to line of sight, get some heals on himself. Gorecki shears that heal, but that frees up Envious to cast out, and that's enough to top off Hots quite easily. Jamili and Peekaboo not going to be having those cooldowns up for a little bit. Vendetta's almost up though. Mind control over onto Jamili, gets purged off right away by Gorecki. Vendetta should be committed here soon on to Hots. He doesn't have that Astral Shift, so Peekaboo would get a lot of value out of that if he wanted to get some damage out and some pressure. Stormbolt over onto Peekaboo though. He's going to get out of that, pop that evasion. He should be completely fine now. Swap over onto Jamili. Can they get anything done? Full Moon's going to be cast out. Jamili lands the Full Moon over onto Hots, but Ray of Hope's going to deny that damage. But does Envious have the healing? It looks like he does. A lot of healing going to be used over onto Hots. Still line of sighting. Vendetta committed as well. So Temple Storm trying to get aggressive Hot's having to use that Astral Shift. He's not going to have that for when Jamili actually has his Incarnation up, so that might be an opportunity for Tempo to finish off Hots.
Yeah, this is a good opening for Tempo Storm, but because the blind broke earlier, Envious still has his trinket for this situation, so Envious needs to realize that he has to save Hots. Hots still on the run, playing that turtle all day strategy, trying to hang in until Goreki's tapped on mana. Envious looking for mind controls, gets Voodoo Totemed on it. Well done, Goreki can save some mana without having to purge that. Still a lot of pressure on Hots. Goreki moving up, they can smell blood in the water, they want to take Hots out. We can see a pre-fade from Envious to try and avoid crowd control, buying him a couple seconds to get some heals over to Hots, but Hots' health is not going up. Dampening works both ways. It's going to be more difficult for Envious to recover as well. Ray of Hope has been traded out, pausing the damage of the Incarnation, but they may need to use Guardian as well. I stand corrected. Ray of Hope topping him off immediately. Jamili still trying to push forward with the Incarnation, gets Storm bolted, peeling him away. They pop the Bloodlust to try and take out Jamili. He bark skins. Will that be enough? Voodoo Totem catches the whole team, and now Hots is very low on health. Jamili still very low on health. Off pummel onto Goreki from Vices, but Hots can ultimately fall. Peekaboo soloing him. Solar Beam gets dropped, going for a desperate mind control play to stay alive. Jamili Star Surge connects, Kidney Shot to follow it up, and Peekaboo will claim the life of Hots. Tempo Storm leading 2-0 in the series, and they're making it look very easy. I don't think that this turtle all day strategy is going to work. It seems like Tempo Storm have found a way to navigate through it, which is Goreki constantly looking for drinks, that they have some options into the late game.
I just feel like Baby Rage is playing way too defensive. They're just not creating those windows of opportunity, not using Fear, not using Chastise to get those instant CCs. It's not hard to get out those crowd controls. Indeed, Baby Rage, I feel like they could be playing a little bit better offensively. Like Sid said, perhaps they're getting a little bit nervous in the grand finals. I mean, sort of new blood to the tournament scene. They're doing a great job so far, guaranteed at least second place, but they're looking to claim first. Envious is going to get Chief Shot. Looks like he was going to be opening up onto Hots right away. Once again, playing that assassination spec, committing vendetta, but Hots using this big pillar on Tolveron, which I think is actually going to be a little bit better for the strategy Baby Rage likes. It's going to allow him more of an opportunity to kite and get away from some of this damage coming in from Jamili and Peekaboo.
All right, Voodoo Totem was already used, so they can't shut down this Bloodlust attempt, but Jamili with Barkskin seems to be sitting through it A-OK. Hots trades out Astral Shift to answer Jamili's Incarnation, jumps out of line of sight as well. So Envious, Hots, they're playing to the same strategy. Can they find a way to punch through or survive longer, really, to find their opportunities? If Goreki sneaks away and drinks, maybe they can find some way to stop that. Maybe Vices should just leap after him. They managed to sneak a full clone. Hots on the run down to half HP. Peekaboo trying to chase after him. Nice shiv there, holding him in place. Life Grip not doing too much, but grants him a bit of bonus healing, which he really needs in this situation. Gets cloned low on health. Jamili trying to clone a Guardian. He clones the Master Spell. Really well done from Jamili. Doesn't get the third. Peekaboo still following with a lot of damage. Tries to step kick Envious. Doesn't fall for that step kick. Connects the Ray of Hope. That Ray of Hope will pause the damage, boost his healing, giving him time to top Hots off. Jamili now kiting away. They swap to Peekaboo. I think Peekaboo is going to be their squishiest target, or Goreki, and it seems like Baby Rage focusing down Jamili isn't the right choice. I don't think Bloodlusting him is going to work. He has Bark Skin for every Bloodlust, Earthen Shield Totem as well. So I really think Hots and Vices either need to split DPS or go after a different target during their Lust goes.
Yeah, they need to throw a Stormbolt over on a Goreki, and they can Chastise Peekaboo, do something, some sort of setup. Hots popping Bloodlust now, trying to counter pressure. Jamili getting a little bit low, but he uses Barskin. He should be completely fine with that. Now Hots having to run away. Envious doesn't have too much left for him. His Ray of Hope isn't going to be up. And actually a Cyclone going out onto Hots gets MD'd once again. Not able to interrupt it is Peekaboo, but he throws a Kidney Shot over onto Hots, and now Hots in a lot of trouble. Envious is going to have to throw out a lot of healing right now. Ray of Hope might not be enough. It might end up killing Hots. And just kidding, a lot of Holy Priest healing coming in. Hots should be fine, but he gets dipped down low once again, still not out of the woods. Astral Shift's going to be used, stun over onto Jamili as well, trying to slow down some of that Tempo Storm damage. Now Hots looking to get aggressive, trying to turn around the pressure on a Goreki. I don't know what Goreki's doing right now. He has no business being in the middle of Baby Rage. It's a good thing he just leapt away. He should be okay topping himself up.
Yeah, Hots getting cloned at low health, and Envious is constantly mass dispelling. That's going to run him out of mana. Hots in trouble low on health. No cooldowns really remaining. Hots on the run. Jamili looking to take him out. Peekaboo is caught into a root. Really nice Earth Grab Totem buying Hots some space, but Hots runs right back to Peekaboo. Goreki jumps in. They smell blood in the water. They're looking to claim this first best of 5. Full Kidney Shot. Envious saves the day with a Ray of Hope. Buying Hots the time he needs to top off. Jamili has Incarnation though, and Hots has no Astral Shift. There's no Ray of Hope. Solar Beam catching 2 players. Peekaboo looking to train down Hots as soon as Vendetta is available. I have no idea how Hots is going to survive this. Vendetta popped, and Peekaboo looking for the solo kill. Envious with nothing left, caught into the clone, and Tempo Storm. Clean sweep Baby Rage in an easy best of 5. Now they're looking to do it again, and I do not think that this defensive strategy will work for Baby Rage. You can really tell that the pressure is on here in the grand final.
Yeah, Tempo Storm doing such an incredible job in the grand final so far, closing out series number 1, but they do have to win one more. Baby Rage has another opportunity in series number 2 to come back, but this is
Richard's
going to be...
just throwing you for a love loop.
I know.
He's got you under his spell.
Okay, stop. We gotta cast this tournament. This is in the Grand Arena. Baby Rage going up against Tempo Storm. Tempo Storm basically smashing Baby Rage in the first series, winning 3-0. Have little to no effort. We need to see Baby Rage play a little bit more aggressive. I want to see crowd control on Envious. If there's no crowd control, or sorry, crowd control on a Gorecki. If there's no crowd control on a Gorecki, I don't think they have a chance of winning.
I don't think they're going to win if they keep trying to run against this wall like this. They Stormbolt Peekaboo, finally changing something up. Going to be going after the Rogue instead of the Boomkin, but unfortunately Gorecki can just shut it down with these Voodoo Totems constantly. If that Voodoo Totem stops even just 2 attacks from that Bloodlust, it's going to defuse it entirely. They Cyclone Hot's low on health, deny the Ray of Hope. They land the kick on Envious if they can follow up with any crowd control at all. Hot's may just fall over. Jamili's just chasing him down, and it looks like a race to the finish. So much pressure towards Hot. Hot's Envious struggling. He's going to stun Jamili. Try and buy a couple seconds. Blind gets used. He trinkets out of that right away. Does not want to fall behind. Hot's caught into a stun. This could easily be the Guardian. Jamili looking for Cyclones. Finds one onto Envious with no trinket available. Hot's hanging on by a thread, but Tempo Storm seem to be like a team that is unstoppable throughout this entire tournament.
Baby Rage needs to just crowd control Gorecki, just put anything onto him when they make these swaps on a Peekaboo. They can force Trinket and then end up killing. Peekaboo does not have Trinket. They do 2 Bloodlust goes, that could be it, but Hots is just gonna potentially go down here. Envious trying to get some healing. Ray of Hope's gonna connect. I don't know if Envious has the healing. He does have that Holy Word Serenity. He's gonna use it. That should be enough to get some healing over onto Hots, but not that much. Peekaboo's gonna interrupt and beam over onto Envious as well. Hots still just running, trying to survive. Now Stormbolt over onto Jamili. They're swapping onto him. These Stormbolts should just be on Gorecki. Just CC Gorecki. He's just hexing every single one of these goes. I'm just not happy with the way Baby Rage is playing in this game so far.
Yeah, they managed to get a hex, but Jamili can remove that right away, and Hots is on the run. That seems to be the story of this entire series, is Hots run Hots, but he inevitably gets taken down by Tempo Storm every time. He's going to get bursted down in this kidney shot. Vendetta Pop cannot wall until 10%, and that Poison Bomb secures a kill with a Lava Burst. And I mean, at this point, man, Baby Rage has to change something. This isn't working. The long game didn't work. The attempts at offense didn't work.
What
they
attempts
have to
at
change
offense?
On the 12 run, they pushed across the map, and I mean, that's probably why the game ended so fast. But here it ended fast without them even trying to play offensive. And yeah, I think something we haven't seen is a Mistweaver Monk since the recent mana changes. So that could be why they didn't want to bring Whoopi in. Maybe he can't maintain his mana long enough. That's what we're really going to find out. It's the best map for them. If there was going to be an opportunity for Baby Rage to put a point on that scoreboard, it's going to be now. Can they pull it off? The first time we see Whoopi. Does he choke under the pressure of the tournament is another thing.
I sure hope not. He is playing Way of the Crane, so anytime he pops out, he will be able to heal his team with melee attacks as well as provide a little bit of additional damage. Fear coming in from Vices right away onto the opener of Peekaboo and Jamili. Good job by him, slowing down some of that initial damage. Whoopi getting Root Beam there. Looks like Bloodlust has been used onto Jamili. The Incapacitate onto Gorecki. 1 CC, almost enough to close out the game. Spirit Wing Totem has been used. And that's what I'm talking about. Just get some crowd control. Triple leg sweep. It's not over yet. Gorecki getting swapped to, having to use that Astral Shift. Baby Rage looking so good at the beginning of this game.
Yeah, Whoopi's paralyzed there, and the triple leg sweep really set up a lot of good pressure early on. They need to stay alive to another opportunity for that. Whoopi needs to be careful. Portals away, knows that he's a vulnerability, escapes Peekaboo's clutches. Jamili chases after him. I wonder if Jamili's going to clone Whoopi and then go for Hots. I'm not sure. He paralyzes Jamili, denies the clone. Hots retreats back. It's perfect timing for them to start playing defense. I wonder maybe Peekaboo plays a Fen and Ice Spec against the Monk as well. Could be an option. It looks like they're getting ready to set up on the Peekaboo with the Stormbolt swap. He immediately cloaks in evasions at 10%. Hot's though cloned at low health. Whoopi feeling the heat. Solar Beam gets dropped. He's not going to be able to get out of that just yet. Barely. The damage breaks him out. Whoopi caught into a kidney shot. He way the cranes out. He should be able to top his team. This is where they got Bloodlust coming up in about 3 more seconds. They have to keep their level head. Whoopi gets cloned. Maybe even just trinkets this. Runs at Gorecki. I feel like they've got a good opportunity. They could kill Peekaboo in the next Stormbolt. I think it's important that they go for Peekaboo in this situation.
They need that crowd control on a Gorecki. Need that Incapacitate, potentially even into a leg sweep. They can use that on his Trinket. Peekaboo's going to be in a lot of trouble if they can get that off. Bloodlust is up. We're just waiting for Baby Rage to pull the trigger. Peekaboo kind of line of sighting, just spamming out that feint. He realizes he's probably going to be in trouble here. Hot's also getting low. He has to play a little bit of catch up right now. Still has that Life Cocoon if he needs it. Shinlon's gift going to be used. He actually gets interrupted by Peekaboo, so Whoopi might fall behind here. He doesn't have Way of the Crane, caught into the kidney shot, but this is it. Bloodlust used over onto Peekaboo. Peekaboo gets out of that Stormbolt. with that Bloodlust. Should not be going down here, but another leg sweep going to be coming in from Whoopi. Good job by him. He has that Way of the Crane. A lot of damage over onto Jamili right now. Gets a big heal from Gorecki. No CC onto Gorecki during that go, so unfortunately, Baby Rage not able to make too much happen.
Very scary. Jamili has Incarnation and Peekaboo has Vendetta. Whoopi just used Way of the Crane. He gets fully cloned. Hots needs to run. He already knows that. He's line of sight Jamili as much as he can, but as soon as he's stunned, I don't know how Hots is going to survive. They may even swap the kidney shot. Whoopi, very surprised to not see him trinket this. There's a lot of damage following it up. He's trying to play greedy, managed to escape. He paralyzes Gorecki. Maybe they got a Stormbolt for Peekaboo. They need to find that stun. They don't find it. Whoopi's still getting chased down. Vice is trying to counter pressure Jamili away, but they're not finding the opportunity. Whoopi's Way of the Crane will be available shortly. He needs to save that for the kidney shot. Vice uses Fear to pause the fight. Hopefully Whoopi can recover, but the Solar Beam dropped onto the whole team. Hots is getting bursted down. Will he have enough time to save him with the Way of the Crane? Trying to chase down Jamili. Jamili forced to retreat for now. Whoopi manages to pull off a miracle to survive through that onslaught. Double leg sweep lands, but Voodoo Totem denies the kill. Whoopi moves over, maybe for a paralyze. I'm really surprised to not see it. There's the paralyze. The evasion gets popped. They switch to Jamili instead. A couple more paralyzes like that, they might find the win. They're massively ahead on mana, and this looks way better for Baby Rage overall.
Yeah, Baby Rage is doing a good job so far. Kidney shot over onto Whoopi, though. He has Revival, he has Life Cocoon. Can he survive the stuns long enough, though? Life Cocoon is going to connect before the Garrote, so Whoopi will live to see another day. Vice is low, though, as well as Hot, so he has to play catch-up. Revival, like I said, available. Vendetta's going to be up very shortly for Peekaboo. That's a very strong cooldown. I don't know if they want to make a swap over onto Whoopi. Hots doesn't have his Astral Shift as well, so Hots is also a good target. Bloodlust will be coming up very shortly. Looks like a Stormbolt over onto Peekaboo. In cap over onto Gorecki. Jamili getting swapped to. He needs to try to get away. He does. Hots runs over to him, putting a little damage, but now Baby Rage forced to play defensive at this point. Peekaboo looks like he's stable, trying to push in, connect that damage. Jamili getting a lot of cast out as well.
The Fan of Knives from Peekaboo is just cleaving down the whole team. Whoopi is struggling very much so to recover. Connects a big Shayloon's gift, though, just in the nick of time. Jamili moving in. Peekaboo moving up. Peekaboo does not have evasion. He lands a double leg sweep, paralyzed combo. Bloodlust gets popped, and Peekaboo could be in trouble. Will they find the kill? No, Gorecki trinkets out. Denies it for a second with that Voodoo Totem. Now Hot's on the back foot. Astral Shift available shortly. Trying to retreat back to the pillar. Whoopi getting Solar Beamed into a full Cyclone. Nice denial of the support from him. Hots trades out Astral Shift. Looks for a Hex. Trying to find that while Jamili was cloned, but Gorecki wind shears it. Whoopi is ahead on mana. Has Way of the Crane available. One more attempt with Way of the Crane could be the opportunity to find a win, but if they don't kill within the next Stormbolt, I don't know how they're going to survive.
Yeah, Way of the Crane has been popped. This is their last opportunity. Full kidney shot over onto Hots. Jamili taking a little bit of damage. No Barkskin, no Trinket, but he's in such a good position. He can just free cast right now, connecting that damage onto Hots. Hots, of course, going to be line of sighting once again. They don't want any part of this Incarnation coming in from Jamili, so trying to just avoid as much damage as possible. No. Full blind over onto Whoopi as he pushes in for that Incapacitate. Maybe Gorecki baiting him a little bit there. Now Hots having to run away once again. Peekaboo not able to connect any damage, so good job by Vice slowing him down. Yeah, they have an opportunity to stop Whoopi, but he just ports away.
Really well done from Whoopi. He wanted to get aggressive. They shut him down, but he managed to escape. They're going to switch devices. Now Whoopi moving forward. If they can land that paralyzed Bloodlust combo, they're going to be in trouble. Evasion trade out for Peekaboo. They need to go after Jamili. Try and get Barskin from him, but he displaces to safety. Leg sweep out of the paralyzed. Do they have anything out of that? I don't think they do. Jamili trades Barkskin regardless, trying to kite away from Vice. Is not able to follow him. He's going to switch back to Peekaboo. Try and connect. Tempo Storm in full retreat. And finally, Baby Rage gets some momentum, but a triple root beam. Way of the Crane out of that route to reconnect onto Peekaboo. No evasion. That boost of Way of the Crane damage might push him over the edge, gets fully cloned. Jamili denies the kill. Vendetta now available for Peekaboo. Who is he going to go on? Do they go out of the clone? Will Way of the Crane fade in time? Vices jumps into battle stance for one last push. Blade storms the Voodoo Totem, connecting a huge amount of burst to Peekaboo. Gorecki with no mana left, and I think they're out of time if Hots and Vices can stay on target, but they're running away. They're going to lose all this momentum.
Yeah, they definitely don't want to lose that momentum. Jamili getting a little low now as they swap over onto him. Kidney shot over onto Hots. Whoopi pushing in, looking for that Incapacitate onto Gorecki. Hots having to use that Astral Shift. Whoopi does have Revival. Life Cocoon almost up, using that Revival to provide a little bit of healing. Peekaboo trying to kite away. Vendetta has been used as well. So Temple Storm using offensive cooldowns, but the Fear comes in as well as the Stormball onto Gorecki. Peekaboo trying his best to kite away. Bloodlust comes in. Kidney shot over on the Vices. Leg sweep on Peekaboo. Whoopi MVP. What? How is Peekaboo still alive? Whoopi doing such an unbelievable job at Peekaboo, doing an even better job kiting right now, spamming out that feint. Gorecki needs to connect some heals. You can see him kiting away. He gets incapacitated once again.
Whoopi wants him dead,
solo. Peekaboo with that Earth Shield just running laps right now. I don't know if he's playing World of Warcraft or if this is the Olympics. I'm not sure.
Peekaboo didn't skip leg day, but he's still in trouble. Low on health. Gorecki had no mana throughout all of this, but Hots is in trouble. Whoopie deflects with the life cocoon, shielding him. Jamili's trying to cyclone it, gets pummeled. Now looking for the full moon to close the match with a full blind. Hots jumps out of line of sight. Peekaboo still chasing him down, but Peekaboo might have overstayed his welcome. He's going to want to jump away from this fight ASAP because Hots and Vices are really tearing in. One more paralyze could secure the kill. Hots gets cloned up at low health. Whoopie's in a tough decision. He paralyzes the Boomkin instead. Tries to slow down the pressure, but that's going to deny their opportunity to find the kill. And now Hots is getting reversed on. Whoopie trying to keep him up. We Way of the Crane, boosting his healing quite a lot. He's hanging on by a thread. Voodoo Totem triple into clone, denies the Lust setup. Whoopie still trying to go into this. Hots still low on health. Has to trade out Astral Shift here. Surely he's not trading it out. He trades it out at 10%. Barely survives. Jamili clones up Vices, denies any counter pressure. And right here, right now, is the time for Tempo Storm to find a win. Whoopie is now completely tapped. What can he do from here?
Gorecki's been out of mana for so long. Full fear on a Gorecki. Peekaboo needs to run away once again, but he does. He manages to vanish out, just playing at range. Gorecki trying to connect some heals onto him. Hots has to pull back. Vices pushes in, trying to get some damage, but he gets cheap shot out. I don't know how Peekaboo is alive right now. Tempo Storm has been running on fumes for so long in this match. Baby Rage doing an excellent job. Away the Crane's up. Revival almost up. Whoopie has some cooldowns, but he has no mana. Vice is trying to do everything he can. It's a weird 2v1 situation. Yeah, Vice is getting low, having to pop that dive by the sword. Whoopie just can't connect any healing onto him, and now Vice is forced to retreat and connect some damage over on Jamili.
This is a mistake. I don't think going Jamili is the right move. Peekaboo has nothing. They have to go for Peekaboo. They Stormbolt him. Jumps into battle. Lust gets popped. Paralyzed. Gorecki trinkets. Vices gets cloned. And Tempo Storm survive another setup by the edge of their seat. Now Hots in trouble. Full moon connecting over to him. Whoopie getting solar beamed. Trying to escape. Not able to. He's holding on to the Way of the Crane. Kind of surprising. Maybe doesn't have the mana to activate it. Now gets fully cloned, but Hots is out of line of sight. Jamili still trying to spam out clones. Gorecki jumping to safety. Doesn't want to get paralyzed. He's trying to stay away from Whoopie and look for drinks, I can imagine. But Peekaboo is still getting pressured. Vices and Hots can't believe he's alive. Trying to train him down, but a kidney shot and a clone. Time together. He pre-reflected the kidney. Denied some of the burst. Jumps into D-stance to deny the kill from the Star Surge, but Whoopie has no mana. Triple Voodoo Totem onto the Way of the Crane. Finds the kill. And Tempo Storm pull off a miracle. Boys and girls, don't skip leg day. Peekaboo running for his life for most of that match and was able to stay alive, but this change to Mistweaver Monk seems to be like an answer for Baby Rage.
Yeah, I'd really like to see Blizzard implement a new title for Peekaboo, Bulletproof. It just seems like he cannot go down, doing such a great job in this tournament. Kiting the defensive and offensive plays of Tempo Storm have been on point this tournament. They are now up 2-0.
Gorecki doesn't link him, and then he stays alive. The one thing on Runes of Lordaeron, and I love to say it, this could be the final resting place, as it is a cemetery, for Baby Rage.
So cliche.
So cliche.
I'm just kidding.
But it's a risky map, so Baby Rage are taking a risk here. This map doesn't have very significant line of sight. Vice is just charging to the tomb. They get a sap. Blade Storm finds Peekaboo, but they already got the start onto Hots. He's trying to retreat away from the Incarnation. They may even swap to Whoopie. They're going to Cyclone him, trying to bait the Way of the Crane before they try to really commit to him. Vices fears away the DPS, denies the Incarnation. Not entirely sure if it was really needed, but they can set up off that potentially. No, they don't even set up off the Fear. Now Whoopie crossing the map, but maybe even overextending, not able to find the Paralyze just yet. There's the Paralyze. Where's the Stormbolt? Who are they going to be going after? They're going for Gorecki, but Hots is caught into a clone. He's trying to get his Ghost Wolf over there, but he's caught into a kidney shot, and that swap was completely denied there by Peekaboo. Really well done from Tempo Storm. Now Hots on the back foot.
That swap wasn't too bad, though. They forced Astral Shift as well as Trinket from Gorecki, so another opportunity on him with the next leg sweep. Jamili getting low, also Stormbolt onto him. He has to use that bar skin right away. Hots trading out that Astral Shift as well. Gorecki could be in trouble if they can get one more good setup. They're going to have to wait for Whoopie to have that Way of the Crane as well as leg sweep up, but once those cooldowns are up, they have an opportunity to win. Tempo Storm trying to pressure down everyone right now. Whoopie sells pretty much everything defensively, still has his Life Cocoon, still has his Trinket, so Baby Rage should be safe for the time being.
Yeah, Peekaboo getting pressured away. He can't really chase in too deep, doesn't want to throw the match. Vice is getting swapped to him. We've seen these warrior swaps constantly by Tempo Storm. They develop a lot of pressure, holding him very low on health. With the full Cyclone, Whoopie may be overextending. Now Hots gets swapped to. The entire team of Baby Rage in dire straits. Way of the Crane is available. Whoopie activates that right away to try and restabilize. They need to set up off of this, but they're a couple seconds away from their bloodlust, so a bit of a discoordinated setup here from Whoopie. He was feeling pressured. His team didn't back him up. They didn't have the cooldowns to really do it, so now Way of the Crane and Paralyze aren't available. Gorecki should be feeling safe.
Yeah, he's going to be very safe after that. That was a bit of a misplay there for Baby Rage. They had an opportunity. Gorecki was just keeping Earthshield on himself. If they just got the crowd control on a Gorecki, they could have made a nice swap over on a Peekaboo. Peekaboo now almost having Vendetta up. Hots is going to be in a lot of trouble. The root beam over onto Whoopi. Can't get out of it. Hots trying to survive. Vendetta has been committed. Life Cocoon going to be used by Whoopi to try to defuse that a little bit, but that is a full blind over on Whoopi. He has Trinket. Might have to Trinket a little early. If he gets caught into the full sap, it will probably be Trinket anyways. Hots does have that Astral Shift, so he can stop some of this damage. Full Cyclone coming in from Jamili. Good job by him.
Way of the Crane and Lust and Battlecry are all up for the side of Baby Rage. Gorecki has no Trinket. In-cap, leg sweep, clean setup, but Hots gets cloned. They need all 3 members to take the kill here on Gorecki, but Hots can't connect. He barely gets there, but Gorecki leaves the stun. They restun the jump. They all collide, but Peekaboo saves the day with a Vanish triple cheap shot. Actually managed to get a re-stealth. That wasn't a Vanish, so Peekaboo knew the only way he could save Gorecki there was to be in stealth, gain access to cheap shot, and stun the whole team. Really well done there. That could have been the end of the match, but Jamili stalls it out. Peekaboo takes the opportunity to re-stealth and save Gorecki on that swap. That was their only opportunity, and it's gone now.
Yeah, Temple Storm doing such a great job reading basically everything Baby Rage is going to do. That's another beam over onto Whoopi. Hots still trying to line of sight. Whoopi trying to get those casts off. I think Hots actually accidentally line of sighted that enveloping miss. Finally going to connect, but Whoopi getting interrupted there on that Shenlong's gift. So Hots is in a lot of trouble. He's trying to line of sight, but this little pillar is not going to be enough. Gorecki's still just sitting so far away, going to be dropping that Earthern Shield Totem, deflecting any damage coming in from Baby Rage. Jamili and Peekaboo should be completely fine. While in that totem, Vendetta is now up for Peekaboo. Hots could be in a lot of trouble. This is the Way of the Crane. If they just wait for Way of the Crane to fade, that's an opportunity for them to get aggressive, and Whoopi's going to have a hard time healing through that with nothing left defensively.
I would like to see a swap to Whoopi here by Peekaboo. That's a riskier strat, but I feel like they're up 2. They can take the risks. They're not going to. They commit to the standard strat. Jamili moves over to try and Cyclone Whoopi. Whoopi needs to be careful in this position. He does not want to get Cyclone. He trades out Life Cocoon preemptively. Peekaboo swaps off that Life Cocoon, getting Whoopi down to half. They Stormbolt Jamili. They pop the Wombo combo. Jamili Barkskins. That needs to be enough for him to survive. Jumps into Bear Form. They commit the Sunder, going all in towards Jamili, but with no more crowd control on Gorecki. Seems like Jamili will stabilize now. Peekaboo gunning down Whoopi. Way of the Crane's out of the stun. That's going to boost his damage, allow him to get out of the stuns as well. Will he be able to find the damage? They leg sweep Peekaboo with the paralyze, and Gorecki make the swap, force the evasion, and that's what they need to be doing. Baby Rage need to keep some surprise factors. Maybe split up the Way of the Crane and the Bloodlust. That way Way of the Crane can get a cooldown like now. Then Bloodlust will kill Peekaboo later. Baby Rage need to have some surprises if they're going to find victory against a veteran team like Tempo Storm.
You see Whoopi's port positioning. It is near the fight right now. I think Whoopi might actually be looking for a drink at this point, but he's unable to get it. Now full blind onto Whoopi. Hots. He could just be dying through Astral Shift right now. Peekaboo trying to connect that damage. Nice Sphere coming in from Vices though, slowing down Peekaboo and both Jamili. Hots trying to line of sight, but that is it. Tempo Storm 6-0 over Baby Rage, winning the Method Major North America.
Yeah, I think the swap to Mistweaver Monk was a little bit too late. They had opportunities earlier on, but they committed to this very defensive strategy, and Tempo Storm knew how to dismantle that. I mean, Tempo Storm just dismantled everybody. They slayed all 3 Method teams, took out Baby Rage from the...